singer. I'm so sorry. Miss Tabitha Massenberg. She's going to sing Encourage Yourself. Where's the tissue? Okay, everybody has tissue. I guess we don't need tissue.
Encourage yourself to sing encourage.
So please, let's give it up for Miss Tabitha Massenberg. Hi, y'all.
Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to speak victory during the test. No matter how you feel, speak the word, you will be healed. Speak over yourself, encourage yourself in the Lord. Sometimes you gotta pat your own self on the back, yeah. Sometimes, but no matter how you feel, speak the word. Speak over Sometimes you have to speak the word over yourself.
yourself. Jesus. I need a minute. I think we all need a minute on that. Somebody spit up this shrimp. Oh, no. It's going to be all right. Thank you for that, Tamara. That was truly a blessing. Yeah, thank you. All right. Moving right along, we have Miss Shayla Renee. She is also selling her book across the hall. If you've seen it, He Almost Stole My Life. Like I said, that looked like a hot number right there. I think I'm going to pick that one up on the way out. Yes, you should too. And she is also a Christ follower, wife, mother, women's wellness advocate, speaker, coach, author, entrepreneur, and overcomer.
Oh, I love it.
So when you want the answers, let's get to the source. Let's give it up for Miss Shayla Renee.
For that lovely song. Thank you. So I have a question for everyone here. Raise your hand if you've ever been in a toxic relationship.
Had to go.
I am so glad I'm in an honest room. I've been in multiple toxic relationships, but there is one relationship specific that I had to write a book about it. It was so toxic, so unhealthy, that I wrote a book about this relationship. And the book chronicles my journey of how I felt and my mindset when I went into this relationship, through the relationship, and how I came out of the relationship a better person. And one thing that I try to really press in on is that if we don't know who we are, if we lack an identity, we won't know how to value ourselves. And when we don't value ourselves, we fall into these toxic relationships. So I'm here to share my story in hopes that my story encourages and helps others place value on your lives and overcome and move on. Because basically that's what we have to do. We need to move on. And I fell into this relationship when I was 23 years old. I was too big for my britches. I thought I knew more than what I knew, because although I was raised in the church, I grew up in the church, I had the spiritual covering of my mother and my grandmother and my aunts and whatnot. My mom did a great job of keeping me balanced. So although I was raised in the church and I had that aspect of my life, I also felt like I was balanced enough to handle the world. And I got knocked off of my feet. I met this guy that I call Mr. in my book. He Almost Stole My Life. And my mindset of where I was when I met this guy is the reason why I fell into this relationship. You gotta understand, like I said, I was 23 years old. At that time, I was a college dropout. I had a dead-end job. I lived at home with my mother. So while all my other friends were, had pretty good jobs, they went to college, they went to school, and they graduated, and they were moving on with their lives and had their own places, I was still living at home with my mother. And my situation and my circumstance dictated how I valued my life. And I met this guy, he kind of swept me off my feet. he was a total package. Like he had checked off all the marks that I would want in a guy. He had a really well-paying job. He had property that he owned. He had goals. He had ambition. And it did not hurt that he looked like my favorite rapper at the time. This guy came and he swept me off my feet. And I was in over my head before the relationship began.
Wow.
And even from the very beginning of this relationship, I realized that Mr. was a little bit deceitful. And Mr. was also a little bit manipulative. And he was a little bit controlling. But he always had a good reason, so I thought, of why he was this way. Mr. I think a lot of us know Mr. He had a good reason, and I was naive. So I believed that when he told me things that put me down. He had a reason why he told me, like, you know, negative things about myself. He had a reason why when we were together there was a no cell phone policy.
What? I'm sorry, what?
I'll call it what it is. I was not naive, I was dumb. I was in this relationship